Queen's Park. Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon, Bakari. Yeah, we could end up seeing more than a dozen protests on top of the Toronto Marathon this weekend. One of them, as possible, is Al-Quds Day. And I want to bring in Noah Shack, who's the VP for the GTA Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. Noah, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
So, Noah, let's start. First of all, tell us what this day is. Tell us about what Al-Quds Day is.
Well, Al-Quds Day was initiated by the Iranian regime as a means of mobilizing people all over the world to demonstrate calling for the destruction of the state of Israel. So at its very premise, it's a highly problematic event. In recent years here in the city of Toronto, we've seen a demonstration that has featured horrific anti-Semitic vitriol and even calls for violence. And of course, we're concerned that this year may see more of the same. All the more so because of a protest that happened just last weekend, where in a similar way, demonstrators were glorifying terrorist attacks that have taken the lives of more than a dozen Israelis in recent weeks, and calling for more acts of violence while also spewing anti-Semitic rhetoric. This is something that shouldn't be taking place in the city like Toronto, where it's one of the greatest places in the world to live as a Jewish person, and we celebrate the diversity that we cherish here. But unfortunately, we also have a problem with hate. And seeing the Toronto police hate crime stats that came out earlier this week, once again, the Jewish community was victimized by the highest number of those police reported hate crimes. And it's something that we're glad to see the city taking seriously, and something that we encourage everyone here in Toronto to stand against.
I know, Noah, back in 2018, we heard Premier Ford call out this day, saying that anything like this that would generate this type of hate should not be happening in the province. Do you think the Premier has done enough? And take us back also to 2018 and tell us a little bit about what happened that day when we heard from Premier Ford and what led to that.
So I believe in that year's protest, there was a speaker who shouted quite plainly, calling for the destruction of Israel, saying that, well, it wasn't 100% clear whether he was referring to Israelis, Jews, or both, that we would be leaving in body bags. Really violent, horrific rhetoric. I think that it's incumbent on all our civic leaders to take a stand whenever hate is on display, whenever somebody is calling for violence against a targeted group, to say that that's not okay, and to take a firm stand and call it out. And we're really appreciative of Toronto Police and Mayor Tory, who earlier today, both Chief Raymer and Mayor Tory stated unequivocally that there's going to be a zero tolerance when it comes to hate, and anybody who wants to abuse our freedom to demonstrate, which is a cherished freedom, but cross the line into criminal activity and promotion of hatred or violence or harassment or intimidation, that's just not on, and they're taking steps to prepare for that. And so I think that gives our community some comfort going into this weekend, but of course we're very much alarmed based on what's happened in the past, very concerned for what might transpire, both in terms of hateful rhetoric, violent rhetoric, and potential acts of violence.
Yeah, and we know Toronto Police has said they are preparing for this weekend. We see barricades going up here around Queen's Park, but again, I guess we'll have to wait and see until tomorrow. Noah Shack, VP for the GTA Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs. Noah, thanks so much for speaking with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Bakari, back to you.
24's Mark.